Some music players are good, some are great, and some are truly brilliant. Today we review the heaviest, most interesting DAP of 2025. This is the iBasso DX340. So far, this one impressed me a lot. Starting with the price point, this is $1,699 at the moment I'm filming this video review. This is a DAP or digital audio player or portable music player, but as I said, I would avoid that abbreviation because it turns to PMP, and that's not what we music lovers do. This is a really heavy DAP, so most DAPs in this world are lighter. This one is about half a kilogram, and even the Lotto Po GT2, which is $3,200 is actually a bit lighter. So what's so special about the iBasso DX340 and why is it so heavy? The weight comes from its stainless steel casing. It has a casing made of stainless steel, which makes it quite heavy. It has a beautiful, brilliant, colorful display at the front. It's super nice. It's actually as nice as the display of my smartphone, of the S24 Ultra. So just look at this. There is a very small difference in resolution, size, and quality. Actually, I think that the display of the DX340 is a bit more beautiful. This is a modular DAP, so you can install multiple amplifier modules. I actually have tested it with both the default one and AMP16, if I'm not mistaken, with tubes. The fun part about the DX340 is that now you don't see the name of the amplifier module that you installed. This is because this face at the bottom is also made of stainless steel, so it covers the entire amplifier module. This is the AMP16 with tubes. And now iBasso is not using new tubes. Those are old stock Raytheon, I believe, tubes. So what's interesting about this is that it has a little cage to protect the tubes. They won't be affected by handling noise, which was a problem with most devices that use this type of tubes, including the iBasso PB5. It had quite a bit of a microphonic effect, as we call it. So for example, if you bumped on the PB5, you would hear that in the sound. With the X340, that is not a problem. You don't hear that. If we look at the bottom of the DAP, you cannot really tell which module you currently have installed. Both of them look exactly the same. No notes, no nothing. The sound is very different. But before everything else, why does it use a wall charger? Well, that is because you can turbo boost the DX340, so you can actually significantly increase its driving power to the point where it will drive the HiFiMan Susvara original. This is how crazy the power can get. Right now I'm talking about the subjective experience and how well it actually drives the Susvara Unveiled, for example, because I'm using it a lot with the Unveiled. I like the drama of the Unveiled. It's super dramatic, has a very nice character. But the X340 is a very practical DAP. I mean, if you consider this size practical and this weight is very heavy and very large. But to me, it has one of the most beautiful sounds, and this is what I go for. Now, I also have the competition here. Even though I'm in the process of moving, I managed to use it side by side with the Lotto Po GT2. Those are both newly released in 2025. Towards the end of the video, if you want to skip towards that, if you are curious about how they compare. But first you should learn how the DX340 sounds like. Underneath the hard case, we have a Snapdragon 665 CPU. It's fast, it's blazing fast, everything just works. Tidal, apps, games, everything. It's a nice smartphone which is much thicker than a smartphone. It also comes with this beautiful case which is light gray color, and it has this metallic mesh on the back part to allow it to cool better. Cools better without it. It was one of the few negatives that I had about it. If you install a protector on the front and the protector on the back, then it doesn't have quite enough space inside of the case and the fit is quite snug, so you may end up with a slightly loose case. It can read a micro SD card up to 2 terabytes of data. At the top we have the USB-C input and the SPDIF output. Important is that it has two different batteries. It reports on both of them, but at the same time you just know what the lowest battery is like. So it has a digital and an analogic battery within the same battery. It's a very long story about the battery. The main thing that you should remember is that the battery life is around 7 to 9 hours of battery life if you listen loudly. While I don't think that is a low battery life, it is a bit lower than most flagship DAPs, especially if you come from one of those larger DAPs, since this is so large. This stainless steel case is a bit easier to damage than most cases. Even though it's stainless steel, it will show scratches very easily. So I'd recommend using the protective case. The most important aspect about the DX340 is the sound. It's a smartphone basically. At this point it's fast as a smartphone, reacts as a smartphone, allows you to do the same things as a smartphone. So How about the sound? Well, the difference between the two amplifier modules is insane. Each one of them has its own character and they are very different. So starting with the default amp, which should be the AMP15, the DX340 is likely the most detailed sounding DAP that I've heard to date. It actually reveals more information and more detail from music than any other DAP, including the Lotopo GT2. The DX340 just reveals more detail. This doesn't mean that the sound is necessarily richer or deeper, it's just more detailed. This is the reference, resolution, quality, and sound that you should have. It's so incredibly detailed and so incredibly crisp and sharp that you hear every bit of information in your music, and it's super analytical. This means that it will be perfect for those who like to hear everything. But at the same time, if you wanted a smoother, more relaxed sound, it won't offer that. It is aggressive, it's punchy, it's vivid, it's colorful, it's super exciting. This is the best word to describe it. It's an exciting sounding DAP. I like that quite a lot. I actually love having an exciting sounding DAP. It's super nice. The X340 has a very holographic sound with a very strong separation between instruments and between layers. Everything is just well defined in its own place. The tuning is neutral though, so you don't hear a lot of bass. The treble is quite sharp, mid-range is quite neutral, everything is kind of flat in the presentation, you don't hear anything else, everything is just balanced, instruments are balanced against each other. I feel that with the default amplifier module, it should be considered the default. It's the most detailed, highest revealing factor DAP on the market. Not everyone wants that kind of sound, so having a strong technical sound doesn't necessarily mean it's best for everyone. Some people want something different. So this is how people created the AMP16, this little guy. Replacing the AMP modules takes like what, 2 minutes? And replacing the battery also takes 3 minutes tops. It uses a very normal connector. You can purchase batteries from AliExpress or directly from iBasso. So replacing the amplifier module results in a very different sound. So AMP16, very warm, organic, a bit of that tube magic and a bit of that tube distortion too. The sound has a higher distortion. The presentation is a bit more intimate. There is a bit more bloom in the sound, especially in the lower mid-range, a bit more bass. The treble is smoother and silkier. You lose some of that technical edge with that, so you don't have exactly the same resolution. A big part of how it is so revealing is the DAC inside, not necessarily the amplifier, but the default amplifier module is a very standard amplifier that allows that DAC to shine. As I've noticed with D16, DX340 uses a very similar DAC baked in the house of iBasso. It's a unique DAC. It's not bought off the shelf from another producer. So this is how it manages to have such an interesting sound. I think that right now it's pretty much my favorite signature with the default amp module. For me, AMP16 is beautiful, organic, absolutely delightful. But I think that by losing that technical edge, I feel a bit cheated out of how much potential the DAC has. And this was the situation with PB5 and D16 as well. So this is how you should see them. You should see the X340 like you'd see the iBasso D16. Sharp, high resolution, crisp reference. And then the AMP16 is like you would add the PB5. It adds a bit of softness in the sound, a wet character. It creates a more pleasing sound and it gives the sound a feeling that it's organic, it's analogic. You hear a sound which is more beautiful, bloomier. Everything is just a bit more processed. That's a good word. It's a bit more processed. So ideally, you should test both. You should own both, though you will most definitely like one over the other. And most people prefer the AMP16, so I'm one of the rare cases that prefers the technical edge. If you know that you prefer the technical edge, there is no need to purchase the AMP16. And as far as I know, iBasso is working on other amp modules too. This power adapter is also very useful because it allows you to turbocharge the power of the DX340. It allows you to give it a much stronger bass, a much punchier sound. Although I felt like the DHD increases a bit, so the total harmonic distortion is a bit higher when you use the wall adapter. I wouldn't use the wall adapter with IAMs, with earphones. I would use it only with very hard to drive headphones. For example, if you have the Hyphaman Susvara, go for it. If you have the Aria, go for it. If you have the HD800S from Sennheiser, go for it. You will need that. And ideally, the DX340 should be at the top of your list if you want a high-end flagship DAC. If you want a high-end flagship music player. While the world of portables has a ton of options, for example the Lotopo GT2, Loto decided to go for a much softer sound. They have a different way of handling sound. Lotopo GT2 sounds a bit softer, a bit wetter. The character of the sound is a bit wetter, so it is less dry, less technical, but at the same time it has a very rich and powerful presentation. iBasso creates a hard holographic sound. It expands the soundstage, projects everything in every direction, while Lotto tends to create a slightly more combined sound. Everything just blends a bit more together. Everything between the two, the iBasso has better overall let's say streaming abilities, because Lotto Pro GT2 doesn't have streaming, but Lotto Pro GT2 has that lossless transmission modules. So if you want to connect it to a smartphone, you can have lossless with the Lotto Pro GT2, while with iBasso DX340, connection to your smartphone will be limited. You have to use it as it is. I used both of them mostly as USB docks for my computer or with a micro SD card. When I'm out and about, I tend to read music from my SD card. I like having a Tidal collection, but I am using Tidal a lot. For Tidal, the DX340 is a bit more practical. With Lotto Pro GT2, you have to use their dongle and then have Tidal on your smartphone. It has very limited streaming abilities, although some people do prefer the softer sound of the Lotto, so it's a good idea to hear all of them if you can. At the end of the day, the DX340 is absolutely beautiful. It's reference, but it's detailed. It's rich, it's organic, it's technically one of the most detailed apps in the world. I hope that if you decide to go for it, you'll have a lot of fun. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about audio and reviews on audio. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely week out there. Bye bye!